Did you know there's not just one of you in there? There's a whole world of different parts of yourself, all jostling and vying for attention. That's one explanation as to why it can feel so loud in there sometimes. One part of psychology called transactional analysis calls these different parts ego states. And from a spiritual perspective, we could call them masks of the self. That's what I'm going to talk about in the video now, and how understanding this has changed my perspective on life completely. If you like it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. So let's get into it. These ego states have different voices. Voices that comfort, criticize, question, protect, rebel, or retreat. Sometimes they sound like your parents. Sometimes they sound like the child you once were. And sometimes they sound like that part of you just trying to make sense of it all. In transactional analysis, there are three primary ego states. First, the parent, the internalized voice of authority, morality, and care. Second, the child, the emotional, spontaneous, and vulnerable part of you. And third, the adult, the present moment awareness that observes and reasons and responds. At any moment, one of these states is leading your inner dialogue. You might be scolding yourself from your parent, or pouting from your child, or trying to solve things from your adult. But here's the key. None of these states are actually you. They're roles the psyche plays, adaptations that help you survive and belong. When we begin a spiritual journey, we often try to get rid of the ego. But from where I'm standing, awakening is not about destroying the ego. It's about seeing through it. Each ego state has a frequency. The parent carries the frequency of control and protection. The child, innocence and creativity, but also fear and dependency. And the adult carries balance and reason, but can slip into detachment. Spiritual practice, whether meditation, prayer, or self-inquiry, invites us to see these movements from awareness itself, from the witness, from consciousness that doesn't belong to any ego state, but gently holds them all. So how can we use this understanding in a practical way? First, by noticing. When you feel shame, judgment, or resistance, pause and ask, who's speaking right now? Is it the critical parent, or the frightened child, or the problem-solving adult? Second, bring compassion. Every ego state is trying to protect you. Even the harsh inner critic once began as love, or an attempt to keep you safe. When you meet these voices with understanding, they begin to soften. And third, return to presence. You, the awareness watching all of this, is not divided into parent, adult, and child. You are the space in which they all arise. And in that seeing, something quiet happens. The voices begin to lighten. The patterns lose their grip. And what remains is presence, unchanging, awake, and whole. Understanding ego states isn't just psychological insight. It's a spiritual doorway. Because every time you recognize a part of yourself and choose awareness over identification, you take one step closer to waking up.